She was stripped, beaten, tortured, and a lathi was inserted in her private parts. All this in the jail where she was serving a term for murder. Shockingly, the first information report in the case names the superintendent of the Byculla jail and 5 guards as the attackers who brutally assaulted 38-year-old Manju Shette.
38-year-old Manju Shette, who was an inmate and a prisoner at the Byculla jail on Friday, was brutally assaulted, sexually assaulted, strangulated, stripped and beaten up by 6 of the officials, one of which was a jail superintendent here.
Left to bleed alone in the barracks for 7 hours, Manjula was moved to the JJ hospital where she died. The post-mortem report reveals more evidence of the brutality and the sexual assault she was subject to in her final hours. Manju Shette's death uncovers the horrific reality of Indian prisons. A warden of her barrack, Manjula allegedly found rations missing and complained to jail officials, and that's what triggered the assault.
Prisons across India are overcrowded. Alone in Maharashtra, there are whatever are the prisons, around 22,000 inmates can be accommodated over there. But in Maharashtra, almost 34,000 prisoners are there. That means the under trials and the convicts are hosted together in those prisons.
Based on an eyewitness account, an FIR has now been registered against the constables and the superintendent.
302 और 34 सेक्शन के अंतर्गत ये केस दायर हुआ है। इस केस में जो जेलर है, आरोपी जेलर और 5 जेल गार्ड्स है, उनको जेल अथॉरिटी ने तत्काल सस्पेंड किया है और इस केस में आगे का जो इन्वेस्टिगेशन है वो नागपाड़ा पुलिस कर रही है।
Following Manjula's death, protests broke out in the prison and jail authorities have accused 200 inmates of rioting. This includes Indrani Mukherjee, the woman jailed on charges of murdering her daughter, Sheena Bora. Indrani's involvement forced media spotlight on the case, but Manjula is not the first prisoner to meet an untimely end. 2015 NCRB data records 115 unnatural deaths in Maharashtra's prisons alone, underlining the need for urgent prison reforms. So we ask on the urban debate, who will police those who police our prisons? Mirror Now report.
Well, yesterday the story broke of a riot within the Byculla jail, but today the details of the gory reason behind that riot have come to the fore. Mirror Now accessed that FIR that tells us very clearly that one inmate was beaten and left to die over 2 boiled eggs and 3 pieces of bread or pav. When she highlighted to the jailer that the rations mismatched and she wasn't able to account for 2 boiled eggs, they beat her, stripped her, tied her to the barrack, sexually assaulted her with a lathi or a bamboo cane and left her there until she collapsed. She was bleeding profusely. Other eyewitnesses, including Indrani Malkani, have filed an FIR with the police. We understand that while the incident took place in the morning over breakfast, Manju Shette was not taken to the hospital or even to the resident doctor in the jail until after 7 p.m. at night. She was allowed to bleed for that long. When the doctor took a look at her, he moved her to JJ hospital immediately. JJ hospital then declared her dead. India's prisons are overcrowded. And there are terrible stories right now of torture and inhumane treatment. But the thing that we should focus on is the fact that the government was meant to institute a committee and begin reforms of our prisons a long time ago, which they never got around to doing. In the meantime, a life has been lost in this horrific fashion as the police try once again to cover up what they did. Women are not even safe inside of jails when they're in the custody of other female officers and guards. Remember, viewers, this was done by 5 female guards and 1 jailer. You're just not safe. Joining me on the show this evening, Kanta Nalawde is the spokesperson of the Maharashtra BJP. Yamini Abde is an activist. Swapnil Kothari is a lawyer who will join us through the course of this conversation. Vikram Singh, former DGP Uttar Pradesh. Abha Singh is an advocate and an activist. Amit Khemka is also an advocate, and Raja Bagga is the project officer for the Prison Reforms Program, the Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative. I'm going to start with Abha Singh. Abha Singh, good evening. Thank you for joining us. This has come up many times, the fact that our prisons are managed so badly, but such a horrific tale of a woman being murdered and tortured inside a prison. And if it weren't for the riots of the other prison inmates, we probably would never have found out about it.
Exactly. I mean, such a gruesome, heinous offense happens in a jail where an inmate is sexually assaulted, murdered, and when the other prison inmates protest, you have a FIR slapped on them of rioting and stopping the jail authorities from doing work. What work were the jail authorities doing? Beating them hollow? I mean, and on top of that, when an inquiry is ordered, it is ordered by a senior jail officer. But naturally, he will try to defend his own. And what is important is that this investigation should not be done either by Maharashtra Police or from the jail authorities. Let it go to CBI, because from time and again, people have been protesting that inhuman conditions in the jail, gross violation of human rights in the jail, but the government has kept quiet. And on top of that, the celebrity accused are given parole and furlough, and on good conduct, their sentences are remitted. So this, and even the courts have expressed displeasure, but yet the jail authorities have done nothing, and now only this death of this poor woman and the protest has brought everything to the fore. I think it is high time investigation is done, and these criminal cops, these criminal jail authorities should not only be suspended, they should be dismissed and punished like any common criminal.
They should be punished like any common criminal. Vikram Singh, I don't understand. Explain this to me. When it is obvious from the FIR that this woman could not have died in any other way but in the custody of the jailers, why have the jailers not been arrested and have actually been suspended instead? This shows that the police are going soft on their own, Vikram Singh.
Very true, Faye. After this unfortunate episode, I would rather that apart from the suspension, which should have happened much earlier, you may recall that it did not happen yesterday, it happened sometime today. Therefore, the soft peddling, and as far as the complicity is concerned, I have no doubt in my mind that there's a lot of complicity. Number two, once a case has been registered, they should have been arrested forthwith. And normally it happens, it's not a selective approach. Everybody, in case of a police station, if there is a death in police custody, the entire police station is suspended and arrested. Likewise, in this case too, all the jail wardens, all the jail staff should have been placed under suspension and arrested en masse and not selectively. But in this case, I would have a gut feeling that perhaps it is hunt with the hound and run with the fox till the dust settles down, and perhaps go in for some kind of a magisterial inquiry. Be very cautious, Faye, that there may be a magisterial inquiry to perhaps pass wool over our eyes and digress the attention of the people that we have ordered a magisterial inquiry. A magisterial inquiry is in any case the duty of the state to order that. But I would rather that the investigation be taken up not by the neighboring police station, but at least by the crime branch of the CBCID. CBI may or may not take up the case, but the least that the state government can do to ensure credibility, fair investigation, prompt investigation, a professional investigation, is to hand over the investigation to the crime branch of the CBCID. And if they don't do it, the neighboring police station, it is invariably alleged, and I have reasons to believe that it is not without reason, that they are hand in glove with the jail authorities. And for obvious reasons, that there are high profile criminals, they have certain facilities to be given, and therefore it is you scratch my back and I'll scratch your back. There is a complicity with deeper economic reasons, corruption, I would say. And for that reason, I would say that local police station is just not the right agency to investigate this case.
I want to bring in Kanta Nalawde, spokesperson of the Maharashtra BJP. Ms. Nalawde, thank you for speaking with us. Good evening. There was a High Court direction to the government to constitute a committee to look into overcrowding of jails and the human rights violations that happen in our jails. Why is it that the government of Maharashtra has not done that yet? Why is it no movement has been done on jail reform so far?
No, actually, D'Souza madam,
yes.
अभी आपने यानी पढ़ा भी होगा या न्यूज़ भी आपने देखी होगी, ये जो पोखरकर और बाकी वो 6 पर्सन्स है, ये सभी को तुरंत सस्पेंड किया गया है और सस्पेंड करने के बाद उनके ऊपर यानी मर्डर की कोशिश की, तो इसलिए 302 ये लगाया भी है उनके ऊपर विक्टिम। और
हमारा
जब
सवाल
तक पीएम का रिपोर्ट नहीं आता है
जी
कि मंजू शेट्टी की जो मौत, सुनिए, मंजू शेट्टी की मौत यानी कहाँ उसको इंजरी हो गई कि किस चीज़ से मारा, वो जब तक पीएम का रिपोर्ट नहीं आता है तो ये लोगों को सस्पेंड नहीं कर सकते। तीसरी बात ऐसे है कि ये गवर्नमेंट सर्वेंट है, अपनी ड्यूटी कर रहे थे, लेकिन अगर उन्होंने इस प्रकार से उसको तंग किया होगा या मारा, ये तो है मारा है इसलिए तो उसकी बेचारे की मृत्यु हो गई है, लेकिन और इसलिए तो ये लोगों को सस्पेंड भी किया है, 302 भी लगाया है उनके ऊपर। और ये 2 दिन में, मैं आप भी देखिए, वो पुलिस प्रशासन से भी मैंने बात की, जेल प्रशासन से भी मैंने बात की, तो उन्होंने भी मुझे ये बताया कि हम 2 दिन में पीएम का जब रिपोर्ट आएगा तब उसके ऊपर डिपेंड है कि हम किस उसमें वो 6-7 लोगों में से किसको हम यानी अरेस्ट कर सकते हैं, और वो हम उन्हें छोड़ेंगे नहीं, उनको अरेस्ट करेंगे। पहले ही उनके ऊपर 302 लगाया है। और मुंबई पुलिस ये कहीं भी यहाँ ऐसे गलती नहीं करेगी कि ये सारे जो है कि ये इसमें से छूट सके। ये तो प्रयास चल रहा है। मैंने खुद
कांता जी, हमारा सवाल यही है ना, विक्रम सिंह का हाथ ऊपर जा रहा है, मैं विक्रम सिंह के पास जाने चाहती हूँ। विक्रम सिंह,
बाकी लोगों को करते इनको क्यों नहीं किया?
जो मर्डर
ने
की
बताया कि ये गवर्नमेंट सर्वेंट है।
सेक्शन 302 जो जिस FIR 302 की दर्ज हुई है, which is murder, which is a non-bailable offence, Vikram Singh, does it merit suspension or does it merit arrest?
It merits arrest. देवी जी, मैं बहुत ही विनम्रता के साथ निवेदन करना चाहता हूं, ये अभिरक्षा में मृत्यु का मामला है, डेथ इन कस्टडी, और इसमें प्रथम दृष्टया ने प्राइमा फेसाई अगर ये मामला बनता है कि पहले आप मर्डर का केस कीजिए, अगर पोस्टमार्टम में आ जाता है कि डूबने से मौत हुई, जलने से मौत हुई, गले में खाना अटकने से मौत हुई, तो बेशक आप उनको बेदाग मुक्त कर दीजिएगा। लेकिन फिलहाल 99% ये मैं अपने अनुभव से आपको बता सकता हूं, फ्रॉम माई एक्सपीरियंस, that she was battered and bludgeoned to death, and therefore there is no cause for any mercy on the delinquent jail officials. You have to be cruel to be kind under these circumstances, that it happens to a lady in custody. This is a custodial death, and you have to come down like a ton of bricks wherever there is a custodial death. प्रथम दृष्टया प्राइमा फेसाई ऐसे प्रकरण में पहले अरेस्ट होती है और बाकी डिसमिसल वगैरह की कार्रवाई अनुच्छेद 311 भारतीय संविधान के अनुसार।
Well, Raja Bagga has his hand up. He's a project officer of the Prison Reforms Program. It's a human rights initiative. जी, एक मिनट, राजा बगा, the assurance that the Mumbai Police will do everything by the book.
बातों से मैं बिल्कुल सहमत हूँ.
So, just before I delve into that, as the point that earlier sir mentioned, we need to recognize it's a case of custodial death. Therefore, the recommendations or the guidelines of the National Human Rights Commission have to be followed, which therefore judicial inquiry needs to take place, which will take into consideration what happened. A. B. Given the fact that an FIR has been filed, there needs to be a criminal investigation, and the first stage of which is the arrest, and therefore the fact that there is a delay in the arrest is clearly problematic. Having said that, your question about the Mumbai Police. Now, we saw a few years back with the case of Agnes Valdera, where he was allegedly killed in police custody. And as you would be aware, that Maharashtra leads every year with the number of deaths in police stations. And the way the inquiry was conducted, it was given to the CBI, and even then the charges were watered down. So we need to realize with custodial deaths, this is a fate which happens to most of the cases. They take years to be completed, and by then the charges are watered down because of lack of evidence, which is difficult for a custodial death case. So we need to remember that.
I want to bring Abha Singh one more time. Abha Singh, the suggestion that a suspension is enough, that in 2 days we'll actually get to the bottom of this and people will be punished and Mumbai Police will do what it needs to do. Do we have enough? Do you believe that? Is that enough to assure you that justice will be done?
Not at all. In fact, I am sure now there must be hidden hands trying to maneuver and manipulate the post-mortem report, because at most of the cases go scot-free because the post-mortem report is compromised or the forensics are not preserved properly. It is necessary that some senior IPS officer is deputed to monitor the post-mortem report, because there are 6 jail authorities involved, and as it is, they are so corrupt they would be ready to pay the government hospital any amount of money to tamper with the post-mortem report. So I worry about that. Secondly, why these jail officials have not been arrested when it is murder. Any common person, had he committed this crime, would have been behind bars, and you are saying that we are waiting because they are government servants. In fact, as government servants, their responsibility becomes much more, because they are there to protect a person, not take his life, and custodial death is taken very seriously even by the Supreme Court, and a judicial inquiry is required. But first things first, these 6 persons need to be arrested, and all these wrong cases which have been slapped on the other inmates, like writing and disrupting them from stopping a public servant from doing duty, I think they have been done as a counter case to stop these women from protesting. These cases need to be also finished, and they should be just thrown out, because this is a very nice way to stop any person from speaking in the jails. And let me tell you, the position in jails is pathetic. There's a gross violation of human rights. There is total favoritism. The way Sanjay Dutt was given parole and furlough without following any rules showed everybody. In fact, the High Court also showed unpleasantness and said what is good behavior. So it is very clear that jail authorities are brazen, corrupt, and the time has come that we just dismiss them and put them behind bars themselves in the same jail where they have killed this poor woman.
Well, I'm going to ask the question one more time to the representative of the government. Kanta जी, मुझे ये बताइए कि महाराष्ट्र गवर्नमेंट की जो होम डिपार्टमेंट है, उन्होंने अभी तक जेल रिफॉर्म पे कोई काम क्यों नहीं किया है? This is despite the fact that the Bombay High Court has given a very clear instruction to the Maharashtra government to do jail reform. Secondly, जैसे आभा सिंह और विक्रम सिंह दोनों ने बोला है कि एक तो इनको अरेस्ट करनी चाहिए थी, अरेस्ट नहीं हुआ क्योंकि वो गवर्नमेंट सर्वेंट्स है. तो गवर्नमेंट सर्वेंट्स की क्या प्रेफरेंस है, क्या स्पेशलिटी है कि मर्डर की एक्यूजेशन पे अरेस्ट नहीं होते? दूसरी बात, जो बाकी के इनमेट्स पे राइटिंग और असॉल्टिंग एन ऑफिसर की जो चार्जेस लगे हैं, क्या वो चार्जेस ड्रॉप होंगे अभी? कांता जी.
नहीं, देखिए, मैं तो ये सारे लोगों के बातों से मैं बिल्कुल सहमत हूँ, और मैंने यही सवाल उनको किया था, जेल प्रशासन को, कि बाकी सारे जो मर्डर्स होते हैं तो हम तुरंत अरेस्ट करते हैं, तो इनको क्यों नहीं किया, ये मैंने उनको पूछा. तो उन्होंने बताया कि ये गवर्नमेंट सर्वेंट है, वो उनकी ड्यूटी कर रहे थे, और जब तक अभी इतने तो भी हमने.
चंदा जी, कौन सी गवर्नमेंट सर्वेंट की ड्यूटी ये है? प्लीज एक्सप्लेन टू मी व्हाट गवर्नमेंट सर्वेंट ड्यूटी इन्वॉल्व्स स्ट्रिपिंग,
रिपोर्ट,
मर्डरिंग,
और उन्होंने
स्टिकिंग टू यूज ए लाठी टू सेक्सुअली असॉल्ट एन इनमेट. ये कौन सी गवर्नमेंट ड्यूटी होती है? प्लीज बताइए मुझे. आपने
उनको बोला है तुरंत हमें पोस्टमार्टम की रिपोर्ट तुरंत चाहिए, ताकि हम उनको अरेस्ट कर सके, और उनको तुरंत अरेस्ट करना चाहिए. ये होम मिनिस्टर जी ने भी उनको ये.
अच्छा, तो होम मिनिस्टर तक बात पहुंची है, लेकिन अभी भी अरेस्ट हुई नहीं.
मंगाइए, और जो भी दोषी.
होम मिनिस्टर तक बात पहुंची है, लेकिन अभी भी अरेस्ट हुई
नहीं. पोस्टमार्टम की रिपोर्ट वो जब आती है तो उसके ऊपर वो उनकी अरेस्ट हो जाएगी, ऐसा उन्होंने बताया, क्योंकि ये गवर्नमेंट सर्वेंट है और वो ड्यूटी कर रहे थे. तो उसमें से जब तक यानी सही मायने में उनकी मौत किस कारण हुई है, इनके यानी मारने से हुई है या किस इंजरी हुई है या कुछ ऐसे बीमारी, तो ये जब तक पोस्टमार्टम
आप गलत कर रहे हैं. कांता जी, यू आर मेकिंग अ टेरिबल मिस्टेक. यू आर राइट नाउ helping bury evidence against these people. You're saying that perhaps, you're insinuating that perhaps she was unwell. She was a little over 30 years old. She was not unwell. There was nothing wrong with her. In fact, she had been made the person in charge of distribution of food because of good behavior. And the report from the hospital suggests that when she was brought in with no previous health problems, she was declared dead. She also had 11 to 13 contusions all over her body. Now, Vikram Singh, former DGP Uttar Pradesh, please tell me, are the arrests made only after the post-mortem report is received? since an FIR has been registered and people have been named? Secondly, Vikram Singh, is there some special treatment for government officers who are accused?
Never. One cannot be selective towards government officers. In fact, taking such a liberal view, madam, इतना उदार दृष्टिकोण अपनाना भले ही गवर्नमेंट सर्वेंट्स हो औचित्यपूर्ण नहीं है. राजकीय कर्मचारियों के लिए, in case of government servants, you have to lead by example. You have to take more punitive action in respect of government servants to make it appear to be deterrent and ensure that it does not trigger in the future as well. ये अत्यधिक उदार दृष्टिकोण है मैडम, और इस तरह का उदार दृष्टिकोण काउंटर प्रोडक्टिव होता है. और राजकीय कर्मचारी हो या जनता के व्यक्ति हो, 302 सबसे गंभीर धारा होती है आईपीसी की. जी मैडम.
नहीं मैम, आप प्लीज मुझे समझाइए ये कौन सी गवर्नमेंट सर्वेंट की ड्यूटी होती है कि 2 अंडे और 5 पाव के पीस के लिए किसी को मार डाले? ये कौन सी ड्यूटी कर रहे थे ये लोग?
आप सुनिए,
बताइए, हम सुन रहे हैं.
लिसन मी डिसूजा जी, लिसन मी, ये मेरी मन की बात नहीं है, इसलिए तो मैंने जेल प्रशासन से बात की, उन्होंने मुझे रीज़न बताया. लेकिन मैं आपको बोलती हूँ, मैं एज ए बीजेपी की स्पोक्स पर्सन, मैंने उन्हें बोला है कि नहीं, इनको ये हमें पता नहीं कि पोस्टमार्टम रिपोर्ट वगैरह उसके बाद करेंगे, आपने तुरंत उनको अरेस्ट करना चाहिए, नहीं तो कल हम जाके सीएम साहब को मिलेंगे. ये भी मैंने उनसे अभी बात की है, क्योंकि उनको तुरंत, भले गवर्नमेंट सर्वेंट हो, बाद में जब पता चले तब पता चले पोस्टमार्टम के बाद कि किस कारण इनकी यानी डेथ हुई है, लेकिन अभी उनको अरेस्ट करना चाहिए. ये मैंने भी उनको जेल प्रशासन से और बायकुल्ला पुलिस स्टेशन से मैंने ये बात अभी की है. मैं भी मानती हूँ कि उनको तुरंत अरेस्ट करना चाहिए. ये मेरी मन की बात नहीं, मैंने उनको पूछा, उन्होंने जो रीजन बताया वही मैं यहाँ क्लियर कर रही हूँ.
I still find this completely shocking. Vikram Singh, I'll allow you to make your statement and I'll bring in the other 2 guests who have joined us. Vikram Singh, go ahead.
Just one quick statement, मैडम, आपकी शराफत और आपकी उदारता का जेल अथॉरिटीज ने नाजायज लाभ उठाया है और आपकी शराफत के ऊपर आपको गुमराह करने का भी प्रयास किया है. मेरा विनम्र निवेदन होगा कि इनको फेस वैल्यू पे न लें. People in the jail authorities have taken advantage of the fact that you are too trusting, ma'am. My advice and request to you would be, please take the advice of a senior advocate who's on the panel just now, and he will tell you what we need to do. And 3 quick points from him, I would say, suffice. What is the road forward and the course correction?
I also want to, while I bring in our other guests, I'll bring in Amit Khemka, advocate who joins us in Noida. Let me point out to you that the Dean of JJ Hospital has been quoted, and of course our reporter spoke with the doctors who have told us that the post-mortem report is ready. They have said that this is what they have found in the post-mortem report. They've said that she had about 11 to 13 contusions all over her body. The Dean has said that the woman's lungs were damaged, and this obviously is a suggestion that she did not die of any sort of illness. She had no history of any previous illness. Amit Khemka, I'm shocked that these so-called government officers who were allegedly doing their duty when they stripped, beat and sexually assaulted this woman are not in jail themselves.
Let me put it in some other perspective. Now, this incident would have gone unnoticed but for the high profile status of Indrani Banerjee. Indrani Mukherjee. Now, what the mistake the jail authorities did were to fasten a counter case in which they made Indrani a co-accused. The first news which surfaced in the media was that Indrani Mukherjee instigated riots. From there, the things started coming into the media. Now, please see what they are doing. It is clearly a case, all these inmates are actually witnesses of the crime.
Yes.
And what the jail authorities are doing, they are trying to influence the witnesses. They are trying to erase the evidence. Now, wherever there is a case where an accused is trying to erase evidence or he is trying to interfere with evidence, that is a fit case for immediate arrest. That is the purpose of arrest. That an accused should never have the chance to either influence the witnesses or to in any way erase the evidence. Now here is a case where these very officers continue in charge. They are very much there. They can destroy all the evidence. They can influence the witnesses. They have already tried to do that. They are actually putting the witnesses into pressure of fastening a false case, and that is what can be the better case for arrest. This is the best case for arrest of any accused. If these people are not removed from the position they are obviously, there will be no evidence. What will you prove later on?
Yes.
And here is the case which is clearly a case of unnatural death. Because the prima facie MLC itself, forget about the postmortem, the MLC of the hospital itself narrates all the things which are there on her body. So all these things are very much there. So it is a case of unnatural death. And therefore a case under section 300 has to be there. And since it is obviously 200 people are saying that the lady was murdered. And
absolutely. And I want to I bring in Swapnil Kothari at this point. The thing that we should worry about is that the only witnesses in this case are other inmates. And now these other inmates are at the mercy of jailers. So the clear message needs to be sent out, because if this is how they deal with their inmates for questioning them about 2 eggs and 5 pieces of bread, I shudder to think how they're dealing with the eyewitnesses who are in jail in their custody right now. Swapnil Kothari.
Absolutely, Faye. This, case against the jail inmates for rioting, etc., is completely nothing but a distraction from the main event that has happened, and it's a subterfuge to ensure that they go away scot-free, and simply because no arrests have been made so far. So what is imperative at this point in time is for the police officers within who have the jurisdiction over this particular jail to go out there and ensure that they arrest all these 5 women jailers and 5 women guards and 1 jailer immediately, because I think you have so many witnesses out there. It doesn't take much time to make a panchnama, etc., and all those and all the procedures to be followed, and make the arrest so as to send a clear message. And I'm surprised at the fact that the way the media has reported this particular thing, as one of the panelists pointed out, this would not have gained media attention but for Indrani Mukherjee's presence, I think, out there, which is yet another revelation of a sordid saga that that inmates in this country, and particularly in jails, are absolutely maltreated. There is a gross abuse of human rights at every juncture, and another police apathy for all of us staring at us in this face.
Right, and I also want to bring to our audience attention that Indrani Mukherjee had moved to court today to say that she filed a plea claiming she had been beaten and severely assaulted inside of the jail because of what happened after the death of this one inmate, Manjula. I want to bring in Neelam Gorhe at this point. Neelam Gorhe works also with Human Rights. She's the leader with the Shiv Sena. Neelam Gorhe ji, हमारी रिपोर्टर ने आपको सारी इन्फॉर्मेशन दे दी है अभी तक कि ये जेल में क्या हुई है, किस टाइप की एफआईआर दर्ज हुई, लेकिन ये जो जेलर्स है इनको अब तक बस सस्पेंड किया गया, किसी को अरेस्ट नहीं की गई.
You are absolutely right, and I basically decided to intervene. I was expecting that as the incident has taken place on 23rd, and the post-mortem certificate and the medical details were shared by the doctors on 24th. Yesterday only, or at least on Sunday, there was a need to arrest all these culprits. But it has not happened, number one. Number two, other panelists, what they were expressing is truly correct. Because I also asked the police that how is that the other inmates will be able to talk freely if they have got any information, because at this moment all these 6 jailer women and her assistants, they are only supposed to make a signature in nearby jail, and all the staff who was reporting to her, there is always a possibility that they must be telling all the inmates that again they are going to come back as the jailers.
Yes.
So I have told police, I have requested the police to take in camera into confidence to all the inmates without having jail staff there, so that if they need to give more information that can be given. And my another submission through you and also through the media is that if there are other inmates who want to share, they can share through their lawyers or their friends or their relatives to the police directly, because they don't have any hope. And what I came to know was this, Freya, that because the inmates insisted to go on the balcony and they broke the door, then only they got the opportunity, and they said that unless and until media comes, will not speak. So they were so worried of getting, abused again and again. I find this thing, and also, even the first aid we are supposed to give to people who gets accident on the road, while this Manjula woman, she was bleeding for more than 7 hours. We as MLAs, we have been recommending couple of times that there is a need for medical doctor, residential medical doctor in every jail, wherever women are staying. Government has not implemented that, and on top of it, they have not been arrested, and I am so surprised that the cause of death, I heard from certain police forces, they said that there are contusions and there is a edema to the lungs. However, the contusion on the body, and if there is an injury on the head, then there is always a possibility of getting heart attack, cardiac arrest because of that shock itself. So how is that experts in police are not able to consider that cause of death? And police, I feel so disappointed why they are taking so much of time, because there will be tampering in the evidence. So we will insist to have judicial inquiry, and Swati Satheji's report is related with the jail administration. It is not related directly with this particular offense. So police did not wait for her report. That's what I also told to additional CP Mumbai. So we are expecting that in few hours, this culprit should be arrested as soon as possible. Tomorrow, I am going to try to meet Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis on this regard.
Well, I want to bring Kanta Nalawde back in again, who represents the government. Kanta ji, agar meri awaaz aap tak aa rahi hai, if you can hear me, she seems a little distracted. We're going to go back to her in a little bit. Abha Singh, this is true. These women are at the mercy of their jailers, who are going to try and protect their colleagues, who are going to threaten every eyewitness in the jail right now with similar acts of assault and murder.
Exactly, that is the reason Indrani has been given an opportunity to be present in the CBI court tomorrow, where in front of the judge she is going to show her bruises, and also tell she has conveyed to the court that she has been threatened of sexual assault because she has given a statement against the jail authorities to the police. So we are hoping that tomorrow Indrani's statement would go a long way in registering another FIR against the jail authorities. And not only that, which is very true, that these witnesses who are the prison inmates, they will be compromised, they would be threatened, and they are open to sexual abuse, because the facts which are even till now, the police, the postmortem report has not come, which should not take more than 24 hours. And Neelam Gorhe ji, I would like to tell you, you are a part of the government, you all can be more assertive, because since you are heading the government, you can seek for the report. You are part of the government, so condemning the government doesn't make a sense. You have to go ahead and protect these women, helpless women in the jail, who are now open to, in fact, these rioting and other sections are counter sections which have been put to shut up these women inmates so that they may not give any statements. It is only a fear which is being spread among them by doing such cases, because what is rioting? What can women without any arms riot in a prison? They are all peaceful women. They all wanted to just register their protest, and in a democracy everybody has a right to protest, and that is what they were doing. So I think this is one game plan to cover this case. Had this woman not died, I would like to ask, would they have rioted? No. So it was an so it is necessary that we monitor this day by day, minute by minute, so that these poor jail inmates are not subjected to further torture.
Amit Khemka, go ahead.
Comes out.
Listen, there are two more things which need the attention of all these politicians and authorities. Number one, a person in prison, only right which is taken away is that of movement. No other right of that person is taken away. He has to be treated, given everything what a normal human being requires. Here is a case where, please understand, 2 eggs and 3 paws, and the person is murdered. If a prisoner wants 2 more eggs, I want to ask these politicians, will they provide 2 more eggs to a person who is a prisoner? He wants to have 2 more eggs or 3 more paws. Will they provide that to this prisoner or not? That is the basic issue which must draw the attention of everybody. We must understand that by not doing that, by not treating them in a human way, the jails are creating more criminals than curtailing the crime. So many studies are there which say that it is because of the jails that people are getting converted into the criminals, or at least they are not ceasing to be criminals. The jails have to be places where people should be reformed. So will they not even provide food? Will they not even provide basic things to these people? So what are they doing about that? Please understand, they are human beings. They might have committed a crime once in their lives, but it is our duty that when they come out of the jail, they are no more criminals. But if you treat them like this, they will hate the society, they will hate the world. They will
come out even more hardened. In fact, Amit Khemka, I just want to bring to your notice the fact that she didn't want to have 2 more eggs or bread. She was distributing food to the other inmates and she was short of 2 eggs and 5 paws or 5 pieces of bread. She noticed that there was a problem in what was accounted for and what was actually handed over to her, which is why she went over to the jailer to say, we're short, there are 2 eggs and 5 pieces of paw that are missing. That was her crime, and the result we have all seen was that she was beaten in this horrible fashion. I just want to bring in Yamini Abde, who's an activist. Yamini, this shows us that these jailers, it's not about 2 boiled eggs. These jailers are completely drunk on power. They have absolutely no sense of the law. Once inside the jail, they're running their own system.
That is what, this is not the single incidence. We have been reporting since so many years, we have been finding this kind of incidences very regularly. This came in light because Indrani Mukherjee was there. One more thing, if they would not have made a noise, would you know that this has happened? Nobody would have come to know. So this is the situation. Nobody is above law. Why they are not arrested? One. Secondly, they should have been behind the bars. They should have been terminated. What suspension? Killing somebody can be a reason for suspension, and that too after such a long time. I have just read the FIR, and are you aware only 302 and 34 sections are added. Can you imagine misuse of government position, killing a lady in your premises when you are custodian of that? There are so many sections which are tracked, but this is not done. The FIR itself is biased. What do you think? This charge sheet will be fair?
Absolutely. And of course, sexual assault not mentioned at all, even though the FIR lists out that she was assaulted.
No, there is a lacuna. There is a problem
there is a problem.
IPC. Yes. Because when a woman assaults other, IPC section of sexual assault, it doesn't get attracted. That is the problem. But they should have better, there are so many sections, serious sections, they should be on the board, but they are not. FIR mentions only 302 and 34. One more thing, so many cases they have been on the board. Why nobody took action before? This is just a media publicity. That is why people came in picture and they are working for it.
Right. Swapnil, go ahead.
Yeah, I think, to focus on 2 eggs and 3 pounds or 5 pounds would be a little bit of a misnomer there, or, would be illusory, for the simple reason that I don't think that would have been the reason which triggered this event, for the simple reason that I'm sure some sexual favors were requested from this woman earlier on, both by the female guards and by the jailer, or something of that nature, something more serious or severe, because it's just by itself does not trigger. So I think a tremendous investigation, an intrusive investigation has to be made into this. And one second aspect which I would request the media, please, may I finish, please? May I finish, Yamini, please? The second aspect which we need to think about is that let's, defocus the attention from Indrani Mukherjee, because her bruises, should not in any manner, obliterate or obfuscate Sheena Bora's bruises at all. So, let's...
But how would they?
No, in that sense, in terms of gaining, some sort of a sympathy tactic or some sort of the by the media attention that she's subjected, she kind of protested against this kind of a thing which had happened in the jail, and she was privy to rioting, or she was sexually assaulted, or she was threatened with sexual assault, or she was wounded, etc., and all those kind of things. If she was, let's not then if at all she was, let's focus on Manjula's death.
He's taking the entire debate into some other direction. Where is the question of sexual favors here? I mean, the evidence is there.
I am not saying that there is a question of sexual favors. I am saying one has to look at it.
Why are you not looking at the human right aspect of it?
Well, precisely why I am looking at it.
Prisoners are actually not treated like human. Why are you not looking at that?
Simply because you've taken that aspect into account, so I'm going on something else.
It's absolutely.
No, see, I just want to point out. I just want to point out that, like has been said by everyone on the panel, that the people in jail are obviously either convicted criminals or under trials. That doesn't make them subhuman. So, everyone, including Indrani Mukherjee, if she does have bruises, if she was assaulted, if she was sexually assaulted, has every right to her day in court.
Right to protest.
She has a right to protest, and she has her day in court, and the law will take its course.
May I?
Raja Bagga, go ahead.
One thing which we need to really take into consideration is the audacity of the jail officials to actually commit what they did and still not send her for medical examination. Now, the point that we need to realize is that prisons are such a closed institutions that jail officers believe that they can get away with whatever they do. Now, that is something that we need to realize. Now, could we have prevented such an act if there are norms in place where judicial officers are expected to visit prison often. There are non-official visitors who are expected to visit prison often. The lawyer is expected to visit their clients. However, that does not happen. And the more closed the prison system will be, the more such violations will increase. So that's something that we need to keep in mind. Secondly, this is one incident, and unfortunately, every 3 days an inmate dies in a Maharashtra jail. So it's not a one-off incident. Right. We need to therefore realize that while the BJP spokesperson said that they might want to go to the CM for this, but what we need to really work on is how do you change the prison system, which is less opaque, which is more open, and therefore the possibility of reform and correction is there.
Let me also point out to you that the BJP spokesperson has left the conversation around the time that Ms. Neelam Gorhe joined the conversation and was making her statement. My producers have been attempting to bring her back to this conversation, but she has decided not to join us. Jasa ul Islam joins us from Kashmir. He's on the phone line. Our phone lines are open. Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Madam, first of all, thank you for providing me an opportunity to speak. First of all, I feel very disappointed. This is an extremely shocking incident, and it is a highly condemnable act. It's a sheer injustice with Manjula. I would like to say that those who are involved in this heinous crime must be meted out with exemplary punishment. And also a strict action must be taken against the jail authorities.
Against all jail authorities. I also want to bring in Adil Khatri, who joins us on the phone line. He's an advocate. He's called us right now. Adil, go ahead. We can hear you. Yes, sir.
Yeah. First of all, I would like to congratulate your channel for taking up this issue, because no one speaks for the rights of the people who are there in jail.
Thank you.
I would... our NGO Jaya Foundation has written letter to Honorable Chief Justice and also to the Maharashtra State Human Rights Commission and also Maharashtra State Commission for Women. Okay, and we have placed 4 demands before them that the case may be transferred to CBI. That is the first demand. Second is eyewitness to be shifted, as jail authorities will threaten the witness to change their statements. And the third demand is cases registered on 291 jail inmates of rioting, assault and mischief may be quashed. And the last and fourth one is the family of the victim must be adequately compensated. So these are our basic prayers in the letter. So we hope that Honorable Chief Justice takes the cognizance of this and provides a right to the victim and other people in the jail.
All right. Jaya is also on the phone line from Mumbai. Jaya, very quickly, go ahead.
Yes, I would like to say that this, what you're exposed, is the height of brutality in the jail. And it's diabolism to the power of N. Custodial deaths are often reported, but here it would not have been. It would not have sufficed if it were not for the other lady, Indrani Mukherjee, and it was reported that she has only started a riot and that she is guilty. And now we have come to know that even the lady jailers were involved in this. They are all so insensitive. Well, they are all the custodians of law. Here they are supposed to be the law breakers, and it is reported that no action has been taken against them so far. They should have immediately been arrested. Any law says that pending inquiry you arrest when it is such a brutal murder of a young lady. So this also exposes what is the actual. See, let us know first realize that the prison is.
Right, you know, I want to bring in Abha Singh about the fact that I'm looking at the NCRB data, Abha Singh, 2015, the total number of prisoners who died in custody, 1,584, out of which 1,469 were listed as natural deaths. 2014, the total number of prisoners who died in custody, 1,702, out of which 1,507 were listed as natural deaths. Now, given the fact that the police was tempted in the beginning and attempting to tell the press that Manjula died of a heart attack, one wonders how many of these nearly 3,000 inmates in custody actually died of unnatural reasons, because they've all been listed as natural deaths, Abha.
Of course, you are very true when you say that you doubt these natural deaths. We all know the way police tries to cover up and fudge records, and it is very easy. As I said, I'm worried about the post-mortem report because there are 5 guards and a jailer involved. By now, they must have approached the medical authorities to water down the post-mortem report, and it happens. So many times it happens, and that is why the conviction rate in this country is so poor. In rape cases, conviction is 29%. In sexual assault cases, it's barely 20%. Murder, it's 40%. It is because these post-mortem reports, medical forensics are all compromised, and definitely a lot of them, had these women inmates not protested, people would have taken this as an ordinary death and it would have been covered up. Atrocities against prisoners is, everybody knows, there have been so many people who've died in jail because they were not given medical support, they were not given proper adequate care, they wanted a parole or furlough, they were denied that, they were not sent to the doctor. So it is high time, I'm sure, let this case be a turning, a milestone, that jail reforms are taken in the right earnest. These prison inmates are human beings, they cannot be treated as animals, and even every other death, a so-called natural death, should be inquired. Let the government order an inquiry into all the 151 deaths, which you said the custodial deaths and other natural deaths. Inquiry needs to be ordered, and all those people who have committed a crime like this, they should be punished. A message goes that till now, no further. Till the time we don't investigate other suspicious deaths, such offences cannot be stopped.
But go ahead, Swapnil.
Right, and to add to what Abha said, Faye, is that since there is an appalling falling conviction rate in this scenario, I think what we need to do, Yamini, can I just finish, please? Thank you. So what we need to do in this particular scenario is that if after writing a letter to both the Chief Justice and there is a letter even to the Chief Minister, if the police does not intervene in this, then I think this case needs to be given to the CBI for the simple reason that the falling conviction rates itself shows that the police is not doing its job, that there is no watertight cases against rape, sexual assault or murder, as you know, the 3 instances that Abha pointed out. And also, as rightly what Mr. Khemka pointed out, that the only right that is taken away from a jail inmate is the right to movement. All the other rights stay sacrosanct with the jail inmate. So, so this is something which is very, very imperative to ensure that the rights are not infringed or violated in that sense whatsoever.
Well, Vikram Singh, right now being suspended 5 guards and 1 jailer. But obviously there are other government servants or police officers or guards in that jail right now. Would you say that everybody on duty at that point should have been suspended? Because if this woman, if Manjula was left bleeding from 9 in the morning to 7 in the evening, naked in a barrack without anybody being allowed to help her, none of the other inmates were allowed to help her, and at 7 o'clock, when the resident, from what we understand from the FIR, the resident doctor saw her, he said she should be rushed to the hospital immediately. Wasn't everybody in charge at the jail at the time, that day? Aren't they all on some level culpable?
Obviously, Faye, nobody at that point of time who was on duty can wash his or her hands off her responsibility. And to that extent, I would say, each and every person on duty on that point of time needs to be placed under suspension. Point number 2, now I'm beginning to doubt who is the complainant of this FIR. Obviously, the FIR has been doctored, diluted and made a mess of, because obviously the disrobing of the deceased, the assault on the deceased, these sections have not been incorporated in the FIR. Learned Madam from the ruling party has given a very lucid account, and that would perhaps be the roadmap for the investigation also. And I would strongly recommend the investigators to take note of what you have given in today's program, and to what one of the learned panelists said, that the jail have to have a certain degree of empathy and human rights sensitization. Otherwise, a convict goes as a guru and comes out as a mahaguru. If we do not want to have this kind of a situation, the jail will have to be reformative than coercive or punitive.
Right. Just to bring it to your notice, Vikram Singh and any our other viewers, the FIR was registered by an inmate, by a fellow inmate called Mariam Sheikh, who is from the Byculla Central Prison, who's been in prison for the last 5 years, sharing a barrack with the deceased. And she has very clearly talked about how when the eggs were missing, she went in to speak to Manisha Porkarkar, who is the jail officer, after which she came out. The other inmates heard her scream. Then 5 guards, all of whom have been named in this FIR, pulled her back into the barrack where they assaulted her badly. They penetrated her with a wooden baton. She was bleeding very badly. They stripped her naked and they left her there unconscious till evening, till the jail authority called the doctor at 7 p.m. While all of this has been listed, it is also very clear in that FIR that only Section 302 has been applied. Obviously, something is horribly wrong. Amit Khemka.
Listen, this Byculla jail is a only for women jail.
Yes.
The total capacity of this jail is 200 inmates. There are about 280 inmates, that is about 40% more than the capacity. But the fact remains that it is a very small jail. So the number of officers there in the jail is also very small. So it is not possible that in such a small jail, every other officer or every other person did not know about it, or rather was not involved with it.
Yes.
So the question is not only of suspension. According to me, there is a clear-cut complicity of every possible officer in this case. And you just cannot say that there was any officer there who was not complicit, who was not involved in the crime. So actually every one of them has to be immediately removed and put into prison. So this is a case, this is a very small jail, 200 inmates. So everything, and that is why these people had to go to the roof, because there was no way they could let their voice be heard by anybody. So that is why they went to the roof, to protest, or at least their voice be heard somehow.
Right. We also understand now news that's coming in. The Maharashtra State Commission for Women has taken suo motu cognizance of the death of Manju Shette inside of the Byculla jail on the basis of the news reports carried by this network, by the Times News Network. The Commission has asked for the Inspector General of Prisons and Reforms to be present at the Commission office at 11 a.m. on the 29th of June. We're hoping that the Commission puts pressure on the government to have these jailers arrested and not just suspended until the investigation is complete. Ashok Pandit joins me on the phone line right now. Ashok Pandit, go ahead.
See, when you listen to such stories, you feel that this is another face of terrorism, and all those people involved in killing this Manjula is another face of terrorism. So it's no less than terrorizing and showing another face of terrorism. it's in apathy when you see in the same jails politicians enjoying themselves. They have their mobile phones. You see underworld dons, big gundas enjoying the jail. It's a safe haven for them. And on the other side, when you see a woman being killed in the most merciless way, it questions the basic character of the authority. And as other panels are talking, I think suspension is absolutely nonsense. They all should have been behind bars with immediate effect. Because
let me just. I just want one last question to Neelam Gorhe. Neelam Gorhe, I want to bring back that question that was asked by Abha Singh, which is, you are part of the government. The Shiv Sena forms part of the state government at this point. Isn't there more that can be done in this case than just to make a polite request to the Chief Minister? Isn't there more pressure that you can put as an ally of the state government?
I'm a member in the Legislative Council. Maybe Abha may not be knowing me, but that is not my fault because I work mostly in Marathi. But we'll be calling attention more in the assembly session, number one. Number two, we have been demanding. Secondly, though we have been part of the government, that does not mean that we have lost our sensitivity towards all these issues. Last 30 years, I have been working on these issues. I am so sorry to say. And I felt that, instead of wasting time in this show, I would have been able to save my time because already we have been working and we have visited many jails. If the system is taking longer time, please do not isolate politicians like me who are already committed to social justice.
No, we are not isolating. Neelam ji, I'm not isolating you. I'm not isolating you.
Whatever is possible, we'll do.
Yes. Neelam ji, I'm aware of your history of public service.
Will like to know and come to your discussion.
Neelam ji, we are aware of your history of public service. My question is,
of course, that is
right
our
now,
commitment. I may be MLA or MLA not. It is not the issue. Maybe you don't know about work. We'll send you on my internet addresses and all what work we have been doing. Maybe it may not be enough so that all English and Hindi channels know about work. But that does not mean that we have not been to visited jails and we have not taken up this issue. Number one. Number two, Justice Dharmadhikari Committee's report since 2010, we have been giving recommendations. Out of 140 recommendations, 100 have been accepted. See, if you are going to create chaos like this, I cannot continue because we are not accustomed to talk like this. So the thing is that, if you want to ask any particular question and you are going to...
Okay, one second. Abha Singh, we're also out of time. I just want to point out to Neelam Gorhe. Neelam ji, we're aware of your history of public service. We're aware of the work that you have done in this particular area, which is why, Neelam ji, if you can hear me, which is why we insisted that you be part of this show. Our question was, is there any way in which we can put more pressure on the state government right now?
As a women politicians, because you take it for granted that we are not sensitive. I'm so sorry for coming for this show particularly.
Well, Neelam Gorhe seems to have misunderstood us. Our question was, as an ally of the state government, shouldn't the Shiv Sena as a party be putting more pressure on the state government to do more in this particular case? And we've noticed there are several problems. First of all, the FIR does not actually accuse these particular jailers of sexual assault, which is what they did. And the question we have to ask is this: why is it that in order to embarrass, in order to subjugate, and in order to continuously torture women, these are the same tactics that we have seen being used across the country? To strip them, to sexually assault them, to insert articles into their private parts. This is what it has come to. And this one particular case has come into the public light, and we are talking about it. But who knows how many other such people have died like this in the past in our jails. We request the Chief Minister to take cognizance of this particular case, make sure that those jailers who've been suspended are also arrested so they're not allowed to threaten, intimidate any of the eyewitnesses or to tamper with evidence. And of course, please, to the state government also, please take a look at jail reforms as has been instructed to you by the Bombay High Court and make sure that that committee actually moves on the job that it has been instructed to do. In the meantime, we will keep a very close eye on this particular case to make sure none of the other details are buried and none of the police action is used to bury evidence. Thanks for watching.